April 26, 1986, a day that would forever change the course of history. A date etched in history, remembered for the catastrophic events that unfolded. The Chernobyl nuclear power plant, located in what was then Soviet Ukraine, became synonymous with disaster. It was a symbol of technological advancement, but also of human error and the unforeseen consequences of nuclear power. An explosion, a firestorm, a release of invisible danger. The reactor core was breached, releasing a cloud of radioactive material into the atmosphere. The world watched in horror as news of the disaster spread. People were glued to their televisions, unable to comprehend the magnitude of the catastrophe. The immediate aftermath was chaos. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, risking their lives to contain the disaster. Confusion reigned as authorities struggled to grasp the scale of the accident. The Soviet government was initially slow to respond, adding to the chaos and uncertainty. It was a nuclear nightmare come true. The reactor lay in ruins, a stark reminder of the dangers of nuclear power. The nearby town of Pripyat, home to the plant workers and their families, was evacuated. Over 49,000 people were forced to leave their homes, never to return. Lives were upended in an instant. Families were displaced, homes abandoned, and a once thriving community turned into a ghost town. The Chernobyl disaster became a symbol of the Cold War's hidden dangers. It exposed the vulnerabilities of the Soviet Union's nuclear program and the potential for global catastrophe. The Soviet Union, initially secretive, was forced to acknowledge the catastrophe. The world demanded answers, and the true extent of the disaster slowly came to light. The world held its breath, fearing the worst. The Chernobyl disaster was a wake-up call, a stark reminder of the potential dangers of nuclear power and the need for stringent safety measures. At the heart of the Chernobyl disaster was a flawed reactor design, the RBMK-1000. This reactor, developed during the Soviet era, was intended to be a symbol of technological prowess. However, it had significant design flaws that were not fully understood or acknowledged at the time. This reactor type, lacking a crucial containment structure, was prone to instability. The absence of a robust containment building meant that any malfunction could have dire consequences, as there was nothing to prevent the release of radioactive materials. During a safety test, a combination of human error and design flaws led to a catastrophic power surge. Operators, following flawed procedures, inadvertently disabled safety systems, which exacerbated the situation. The test was supposed to simulate a power outage, but it spiraled out of control. The reactor core overheated, rupturing fuel rods and triggering a steam explosion. This initial explosion was powerful enough to blow the heavy steel and concrete lid off the reactor, releasing a massive amount of radioactive material. This was followed by a second explosion, likely caused by the ignition of flammable gases. The second blast further compromised the reactor's integrity, leading to even more radioactive release. The reactor core, now exposed, spewed radioactive material into the atmosphere. This release of radiation was unprecedented, contaminating the surrounding area and spreading across Europe. The Soviet Union's culture of secrecy compounded the problem. Officials were reluctant to admit the severity of the disaster, fearing political repercussions and loss of international standing. Information was suppressed, delaying crucial early responses. This lack of transparency hindered evacuation efforts and medical responses, putting countless lives at risk. The disaster exposed the dangers of a closed system in the face of such an event. It highlighted the need for openness and accountability in managing nuclear technology and responding to crises. In the face of unimaginable danger, ordinary people became heroes. Firefighters, unaware of the invisible threat they faced, rushed to extinguish the blaze. They were the first line of defense, their bravery preventing a greater catastrophe. Plant workers, exposed to lethal doses of radiation, worked tirelessly to contain the disaster. Many made the ultimate sacrifice, their names forever etched in the annals of courage. The human cost of Chernobyl was immense. Thousands suffered from the delayed effects of radiation poison. Cancers, particularly thyroid cancer in children, spiked in the years following the accident. The invisible legacy of Chernobyl continues to cast a long shadow. The explosion and fire released a plume of radioactive material into the atmosphere. Carried by winds, it spread across Europe and beyond, contaminating vast areas. The environmental impact was immediate and devastating. Forests surrounding the plant turned a sickly ginger brown, earning the grim nickname Red Forest. Wildlife populations plummeted as radiation took its toll. The ecosystem was thrown into disarray. An exclusion zone, a 30-kilometer radius around the plant, was established. It remains largely uninhabited to this day, a stark reminder of the disaster's lasting impact. Section 5. The Long Road to Recovery. In the aftermath of the disaster, a massive cleanup operation began. A concrete sarcophagus was hastily constructed over the destroyed reactor to contain the radiation. It was a temporary solution, but one built with incredible speed and sacrifice. Decades later, the sarcophagus, deteriorating with time, was itself encased in a massive steel structure known as the new safe confinement. This engineering marvel, completed in 2016, is designed to contain the reactor's remains for the next century. The decommissioning of Chernobyl is a multi-generational project. It is a slow and painstaking process requiring meticulous planning and cutting-edge technology. Section 6. Learning from Tragedy. Chernobyl was a wake-up call for the nuclear industry worldwide. The disaster exposed critical flaws in reactor design, safety protocols, and emergency response procedures. The world learned a harsh lesson about the potential consequences of complacency. In the years since Chernobyl, nuclear safety standards have been significantly enhanced. International cooperation on nuclear safety has increased, with a focus on transparency and information sharing. The legacy of Chernobyl lives on in a safer nuclear industry. The disaster also highlighted the importance of a strong safety culture. Open communication, rigorous training, and a commitment to safety at all levels are essential for preventing future accidents. Section 7, A Ghostly Silence. Today, the exclusion zone stands as a haunting testament to the disaster. The city of Pripyat, once a bustling community, lies abandoned. Buildings stand empty, reclaimed by nature. It is a chilling reminder of the human cost of the tragedy, yet amidst the decay, life persists. Plants and animals have returned to the zone, adapting to the irradiated environment. Scientists study this unique ecosystem, gaining valuable insights into the long-term effects of radiation. The exclusion zone is a place of eerie beauty and profound sadness. It is a stark reminder of the power of nature, both to destroy and to heal. Section 8. The Unfolding Future. The long-term future of the Chernobyl site remains uncertain. The decommissioning process will continue for decades to come. The challenge is to manage the radioactive waste and ensure the safety of the surrounding environment. Some envision a future where the exclusion zone can be used for renewable energy production. Solar panels and wind turbines could harness the power of nature to generate clean energy. The legacy of Chernobyl is complex and multifaceted. It is a story of tragedy and resilience, of human error and scientific innovation. It is a reminder that the choices we make today have consequences for generations to come. Section 9. A Legacy Remembered. Chernobyl is a story that must be told and retold. It is a chapter in human history that has left an indelible mark on the world. The town of Chernobyl, once a thriving community, now stands as a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the consequences of human error. The explosion at the Chernobyl power plant was not just a local catastrophe, it was a global wake-up call. It is a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of nuclear accidents affecting countless lives and ecosystems. We must honor the memory of those who suffered and died by learning from the mistakes of the past. The memorials and tributes serve as a poignant reminder of the human cost of this disaster. Each flower placed at a memorial symbolizes a life lost, a family torn apart, and a community forever changed. The disaster serves as a cautionary tale, urging us to prioritize nuclear safety and transparency. Experts emphasize the importance of stringent safety measures and the need for constant vigilance to prevent such tragedies in the future. It is a reminder that the pursuit of technological advancement must always be tempered by a deep respect for the power of nature. The balance between progress and safety is delicate, and we must tread carefully to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. As we move forward, let us carry the lessons of Chernobyl with us. Modern nuclear safety drills and remembrance events are crucial in keeping the memory alive and ensuring that the lessons learned are not forgotten. Let us strive for a future where such a disaster never happens again. International cooperation and the development of renewable energy projects are steps in the right direction, aiming for a safer and more sustainable world. Let us remember Chernobyl, not with fear, but with a commitment to creating a safer and more sustainable world. Educational programs about nuclear safety and visits to Chernobyl memorials play a vital role in ensuring that the legacy of Chernobyl is remembered and that its lessons continue